Eugene, I read that when you were 14 years old, you went on some sort of a quest in your life. Can you tell me what it was that you were looking for?
I don't want to talk about my past life for the simple reason that what I have come into is totally unrelated and cannot be traced back and fit the events of my life into the framework of cause and effect relationship. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to answer any of those questions. What happened to me when I was 14, what I did not do. One thing I always emphasize and overemphasize at the risk of repetitive way of saying things is that despite everything I did, whatever happened to me has happened. This is my line which I repeat all the time to make it very clear that there is no way you can prepare yourself to come into the state or whatever word you want to use, and it is not possible for you to prepare yourself to step into this or stumble into this state. That's the reason why I deliberately use the word stumble. By some strange chance or luck, I use these words to emphasize that my past has nothing to do with it, and despite everything I did or I did not do, I have stumbled into this. It is a sheer luck. I have to use that word luck because there is no way I can logically explain it to anybody. So it's not the luck of one who bought a lottery ticket and from then on is waiting to win $50 million. I showed you a cartoon published in a Chinese newspaper. Somebody bought a $50 million lottery ticket. He went to a monastery there and sat in front of Buddha and asked for his blessings to win. And you know the standard way of this mudra, he lifted his hand like that, and the fellow who bought that lottery ticket interpreted it as saying that Buddha wanted 30% of his fortune. Joking apart, there is no way you can fit whatever has happened to me in the cause and effect relationship. That's the reason why I always use the word is acausal.
Acausal. And it's really not spiritual that you're talking about. You're not talking about a religious experience or a spiritual state.
Not at all, not at all. That has surprised me because I expected to stumble into a kind of a state or get into a state where I will always be full of love, compassion, in a blissful state. Instead, I found that this body was freed from all those ideations and meditations and started functioning in a very natural way. That is the reason why I use the word natural state. The word natural state is not a synonymous term for moksha, liberation, freedom, transformation, or whatever you want to call it. The body, when once it is freed from this stranglehold of religious thinking, as a matter of fact, all thinking is born out of the religious thinking of man. Your political, economic, legal, every mode of human thinking is born out of the religious thinking of man. So it is totally unrelated to the way the people who claim to be enlightened describe this state. And so, I don't know if it makes any sense to you.
So people, when they say you're too nihilistic or you're too negative about things, you're not really that negative. What you're doing is talking about something very different.
They have to take shelter under the word negative because these statements are so positive that this is trying to destroy what you have taken for granted as positive. And so you have to put that label on me, call me a negative man. You see, all that I'm saying is negative, and so on and so forth.
So you're not...
Instead of accepting the fact that this is almost, I don't like to use the word shattering, the very structure that you have taken for granted as the one and the only one and the real one. So you have to put this or that kind of a label on me and call me a nihilist, an atheist, a cynic, and your language is very rich with all that kind of vocabulary.
So anything that we affirm as a positive aspect of our own journey, you would say is a part of something we're constructing out of our thought.
So you don't want to let that go.
Why?
That is all that you have. And if that comes to an end, the you as you know yourself, the you as you experience yourself is coming to an end.
And what will be there after?
That you will never know. I have no way of finding out what I am left with, except to tell you how this body, freed from the stranglehold of religious thinking, is functioning in a natural way. What is left here is the pulse, the beat and throb of life. And the intelligence that is there, which is totally different from the acquired intellect, can handle anything that this body faces in its survival mechanism. I don't know if it makes any sense to you.
You don't seem to suffer at all.
I don't know what kind of a suffering you are referring to. The psychological pain is totally absent here. And the psychological pain is very important for you because you are struggling all the time to fit yourself into the value system created by our society and our culture. And so you don't have the guts, the courage to question the value system. If the value system is questioned, you are questioning the whole structure, your belief structure. And so when once you begin to try to put that in its proper place and reject it, you will be confronted with the situation that you have to reject those who are responsible for that also. That's one of the reasons you hope and try everything possible to fit yourself into that framework. And I always say that you live in hope and die in hope. You are not going to succeed. So the goals are never questioned by you. I am questioning the goal. So if you accept that the goal is the one thing that you are interested in, all that you are doing is not taking you anywhere near, and there is no way you can achieve that goal. So what you are left with is the struggle, the pain, the misery. And you have to live with that and enjoy your misery. So the other pain you are talking about, caused by physical pain, the body has a way of handling it. The physical pain is more acute than the way it is affecting the body, because you are linking up the sensations of pain and through the help of thought, so you feel the physical pain more acute than what actually it is. The body can handle the sensation of pain in its own way if it is not captured by thought. See, the thought has this way of linking up all these sensations and give continuity to it. But I am not for a moment saying that you should endure pain for any reason, spiritual reasons, or to prove to somebody that you can endure pain. It's a different matter. Right? If there is some way you can free yourself from pain, I think you should do it. And not fall for the commercials that they are selling, all pain relief drugs.
So for you, the linkage between the thoughts...
Two sensations of pain, through the help of thought, is really the one that is turning a natural sensation of pain into a very acute one.
And you, there's no linkage between...
There is no linkage. It does not mean that I am free from physical pain. That's all that is there. If the body cannot handle that, take care of it. And your paranoia about freeing yourself from this pain instantly is responsible for the continuity of pain. So body has a mechanism, a built-in mechanism, a system, a sort of an immunity system that can handle the pain in its own way. But if you are not patient, you see, and give a chance for the body to work it out in its own way, you have to take the help of painkillers.
And fear, is it the same as the pain?
I don't know exactly what you mean by pain. I mean the fear. Fear is something which you can never come into contact. Fear is something which you can never experience. And what you experience is what the thought says is the fear. The thought captures the sensation of pain within its framework and calls it fear. But you have never come into contact with pain. You have never touched the sensation of pain. It's after all a sensation. The fear of something coming to an end is what you are really interested in freeing yourself from. But supposing you see a cobra and then you step back. If you are frightened in a psychological way, if I may use that for quote and unquote, you emit odors. So the cobra has to take the first step. It doesn't give you a chance to destroy that cobra. If you are not frightened of the consequences of encountering a cobra there, and this body is not involved in the fear of something happening, then the odors that the body emits will not be there, and nothing will happen. The cobra will go its own way, and you continue to go in your own way. So every attempt that you make to free yourself from fear, every therapy, every technique, whether it is a psychiatric theory or a religious theory to free yourself from fear, is the one that is keeping it there forever. So actually, you are not doing anything to free yourself from fear. Whatever you are doing is the one that is strengthening and fortifying it. Because you have no way of touching that fear. You see, it is what you are doing to free yourself from fear is the one that separates the thought from the fear. And then once it is separated, you have no way of freeing yourself from that. So what you are actually doing there is dealing with how to be free from fear and not fear. Fear is not there anymore. It's a sensation which lasts for not for long. All the sensations are very short-lived. And so the moment you do something to free yourself from what you call pain, you have separated yourself from fear. The fear is not there anymore. What you are dealing with is how to be free from fear, what kind of a therapy you should have to free yourself from fear. In the future, you are not dealing with fear at all. So whatever you are doing, all the techniques you are using to free yourself from fear, if they touch, and that will be burnt. So it will never touch the fear. So actually, you do not want to be free from fear. If the fear comes to an end, you will drop dead here. I guarantee that. What will be left there is anybody's guess. You will never know. He may sit there, the gentleman who is looking at you, and assure you and reassure you that you are very much alive, but you are not dead. He would tell you. But the you as you know yourself, the you as you experience yourself, isn't there anymore. So you do not want the fear to come to an end. What is there is only the fear. Everything you are doing is preventing the possibility of fear coming to an end. So all those therapies which people are selling in the marketplace cannot help you to free yourself from fear.
And what can?
Nothing will. You do not want the fear to come to an end. You face that end. Accept that fact. It is not in your interest to see that the fear comes to an end. So what you are actually dealing with is how to be free from fear and not fear. Fear is something living. It's an extraordinary energy that you cannot kill, that you cannot capture, that you cannot contain and give expression to. All sensations are like that. Anger, for example. All the time you are trying to be free from anger. It's an outburst of energy, tremendous energy. The fear that you will hit somebody, destroy somebody, you are attributing that to anger, but that you are not actually dealing with anger. How to be free from anger? What an angry man would do, that's all that you are dealing with, but not with anger. It is something like a high tide in an ocean. The tide can never be separated from the ocean. So if you don't play with that, it will take care of itself. So that applies to all sensations.
So all sensations are essentially the same.
Integral part of the natural functioning of the body. You cannot separate fear from anger, greed, jealousy, envy, So the desire is one of the most extraordinary things that the body has to deal with. See, you cannot destroy desire. Desire is an integral part of that body. So you are not dealing with the desire there at all. How to be free from desire? Because those jokers have been telling us that you should be free from desires. You are wanting to be free from fear is a desire. You are wanting to get enlightenment is a desire. You are wanting to run away with the most beautiful neighbor's daughter is a desire. Your society in which you are functioning may consider the other one socially unacceptable, but desiring moksha, liberation, freedom, transformation are acceptable desires. The moment you make a distinction between the two, you have created a problem for yourself there. So the desire is something living there. If the desire is not there, you are dead. So in any case, you are dead because you are dealing with not desire which is living, not greed which is living, not anger which is living. These are all extraordinary sensations. They are all the same. The moment you separate yourself, you give a name to that and say it's desire, the other one is anger, and the third one is fear. They are all the same. Exact. Each desire, each sensation may have a different, not the quality, different length of time, intensity, if I may use that word. But that is built in there. But whatever you are doing to free yourself from a particular thing, you are interested in freeing yourself from, that intensity is given by thought. So it is captured by thought. So how can you free yourself from any of the sensations? The body has to respond to the stimuli. That's all it is doing there. And there also, the sensation and the response to the sensation is one unitary movement. They cannot be separated at all. The moment you, through the use of thought, separate the sensation and the response to the sensation, you have created the problem for yourself. This is a conversation, you call it? No.
So how do we find ourselves?
How is the word which should be eliminated from the English language? Not only from the English language, all the languages that we use to communicate with others. How implies you want to know.
Right.
You already know a lot. How to be free from desire, how to be free from fear, how to be free from anger. Why do you want to know from me? Huh? How to be free from all those things? If I said this would be the way you can free yourself from fear, you will add one more to the list of things you already have. I really don't know how I freed myself from any of these things. But suddenly it occurred to me that there is nothing there to be free from.
And your state or condition, if it happened to another person,
Yes.
if it should happen,
Yes.
what they would be totally different from.
Totally different. It will express in a different way. You know? It will be something new. It will be different. Because the background of yours is different from my background. I don't know how I freed myself from my background. There is no way I can tell you how I freed myself from the background. It is not operative anymore. It has lost its power of controlling the functioning of this body to function in its own natural way. That's all. How it happened, I really don't know. And what I am left with can never be captured by the experiencing structure here and pass it on to somebody. If I do that, it will do more harm than good.
So no one can imitate you in order to arrive at your state?
Not at all, not at all. This is something which my favorite word cannot be produced on an assembly line.
And
so this has no value for me, and it cannot have any value for the society, because it cannot be fitted into that value system. Actually, it destroyed the stranglehold of the value system in this individual. So any attempt on your part to use this will destroy your value system. It is interested in continuity. It is interested in perpetuating itself. That's all it is interested in. That is the reason why you are fighting with whatever I am saying. You just laugh.
So people, when they talk to you, it's really a battle to hold on to what they already have.
I wouldn't call it battle, but
Struggle.
Huh?
People are struggling to hold on.
I don't know. You should know what's going on there. I have no way of describing what's going on there. It is not you. The one that has created what you call you does not want to accept this, because that would put an end to that. So it is that is fighting this battle. That is not interested in touching this at all, because this would destroy that. So that is interested in perpetuating itself. It has a built-in mechanism that keeps it going. Thank you.
Yet, at the same time,
Yes.
there seems to be so much peace around you. I mean, is there a name you could, or how would you describe that, or why would you say that's there?
I don't know, and I have no way of finding out whether I am at peace with myself. There is no way. I can tell myself, this is you. You are at peace with yourself. You are in a state full of compassion, love. You see, all those phrases you don't seem to realize create the division in you.
Just
love implies two. I love you. Wherever there is a division, there is a conflict, there is a battle there.
So you don't live in any division?
I can't, to put it that way is very misleading. I have no way of telling myself what is the state I am in. This is me. So if I can do that, I will know what you are. So I have no way of knowing anything about myself, so there is no way I can find out whether you are enlightened or not enlightened, whether you are at peace with yourself or not. The fact that you come to me or go to somebody asking him or me how I can be at peace with myself indicates that you are not at peace with yourself. That's enough, I suppose. We have said a lot. And thank you for this so-called conversation, dialogue, interview between us both.